it's all about growth from a business perspective, both organically or through acquisition, if there's an acquisition that's available.
Yeah.
I do think there will be a consolidation in the supply chain from a Marina software perspective.
Welcome to the Ben Taylor podcast. This is the home of marine industry insights. Hi everybody, and welcome to the Ben Taylor podcast, the home of marine industry insights. Today we're talking about technology. I'm here with Jamaine Campbell. Nice to see you, Jamaine.
Pleasure to meet you, sir. Pleasure.
So let's have some context first.
Yes.
Who are you? What do you do? Let's have some background.
Yeah, Jamaine Campbell, CEO of Elite Dynamics. The organization was founded in 2015. We provide IT solutions based on Microsoft Dynamics technology to the leisure industry, particularly the marinas and the holiday parks.
And so go a little bit more widely into Elite Dynamics, how that's kind of developed over time and where it is now.
Yeah, well, I was first introduced to the hospitality sector in 2000. I was asked to architecturally design a platform for a holiday park who had 5 parks in North Wales that had multiple systems. So we built the platform on what is now Microsoft Dynamics technology, but historically it was called Navision. Roll forward 15 years, we managed to secure 6 customers on that platform, ranging from a 5-location operator to a 35-location operator. We spoke with the MD of the company and said, we need to throw the software away and write it from scratch. Yeah. He said no. He said it was a 6-man company at best. I managed to count to 5, shook his hand, started Elite Dynamics. We're now 44 of us in the business. Yeah. We serve over 70 different customers and are over 450 locations. And we have over 3,000 users on our platforms.
And you've mentioned holiday parks. A lot of our audience is probably thinking, well, this is holiday parks. This is not marinas and boats.
This is correct, yes.
So what's the connection there?
So we had great success in the holiday parks industry. Our solutions manage from marketing through to finance and everything in between. So we manage onboarding customers, we manage onboarding units or lodges or bands, and the selling and buying of those units and managing the customers from a marketing perspective, from a commercial perspective. And a couple of our customers actually had inland marinas. And through conversations, trying to understand what the business model is behind a marina, the similarities between a marina and a holiday park are uncanny. So I think it took us about 18 months of market research, speaking to people at British Marine, traveling the world, speaking to people like yourself, industry specialists who understand the nuances. And we realized that the platform that we had was probably a 90% fit for marina operator. So we spent the last 6 to 9 months developing a solution, enhancing the solution, speaking to key players in the UK. I traveled over to Fort Lauderdale. I went to the Association of Marine Industries event this year, speaking to people there in terms of one on a marina tour as well, which is really fascinating. Understanding how they do the dry stack and so on and so forth. And came back to the product team and said, we are very, very close.
Yeah, with a bit of background knowledge, a bit of context of, look, this is no longer just numbers on the screen and kind of we think this will work.
Yes.
You've seen it happening, you spoke to them and go, oh, this is a really big problem. This is something that software could probably solve.
Yes.
But it's not there now.
Yeah. I think the biggest challenge that we've identified, both from a marina perspective and more initially from a park perspective, is that you have software vendors who focus on a simple or single revenue stream. So we can handle the berthing and the owners who come into berth, or whether they're transient or they're residential berthing, or they might handle the dry stack. What we do with our platform, because it's built on this Microsoft Dynamics technology, that allows us to handle all the revenue streams. So we can handle the berth and the dry stacking, we can handle memberships, so yacht clubs, for example. If you've got a hotel, the platform will manage the hotel. And what we've identified is that with multiple systems brings more challenges, okay? Particularly around the data. And our platform, because it's a single platform, you can follow the journey of one of your customers from inception through to completion. How many leads have you had? How many activities have they booked on? Did they book on yoga or Pilates? And with that data, we can then turn that into information, which in turn turns into revenue. And I think that's the fundamental difference. And we've identified that our software platform will handle the revenue streams, even some of the revenue streams that a lot of marinas stay away from, such as boatyard services. We've got a module for that as well.
Right. So this is really interesting because a lot of what I hear about marinas and what they're kind of working towards is almost becoming more like a resort, and a destination is like the buzzword.
Yes.
But fundamentally, from an operations point of view, it means they're no longer just parking boats and sitting back and relaxing. There might also be a restaurant there, or you mentioned yoga facilities and gym facilities and whatever else, or shopping malls or whatever, hotels.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that makes a lot of sense in terms of what their digital infrastructure is today. Actually doesn't necessarily fit with what their strategy might be over the next few years.
That's correct. So our foundations, as we mentioned before, is in holiday parks. And one of the things that we identified is that there was a shift towards multiple revenue streams, which brings out the resort scenario. So our platform off the shelf is designed to manage resorts. So when we overlay some of the nuances or some of the marina industry specific revenue streams, such as boatyard services, you end up with a platform that manages the whole business from end to end. It manages the customer journey from end to end. And I think that customers are more and more demanding in terms of customer expectation on technological platforms, or how they engage from a member's perspective, or how they engage from a customer's perspective. And the drive is a bit of a push and a pull. The customers are pulling our operators into being more technical. And then we're driving the opposite way by giving marina operators the art of what is possible with the technological landscape that we operate in, which is fundamentally, it's a Microsoft tech stack.
Yeah. I always think of the marine industry, our customer base, is a really interesting profile because they tend to be older, less tech savvy, and the industry is largely the same. So they've been well matched historically, and just kind of done things probably as they have been done for many, many years. And so you get this disjoint today where they probably do actually have enough technology like smartphones and things to interact in a digital way, but the systems that the marine suppliers and marine businesses actually have don't necessarily accommodate for it.
That's correct.
And so there's this disjoint where there is actually quite a lot of potential of more revenue streams and different ways of selling to people that are a lot more streamlined. We're probably missing out on.
I think so.
Because we don't embrace this stuff.
Yeah, I think so. And I think sometimes you have a technological challenge whereby to implement a new system to manage a new revenue stream is probably more of a headache than the upside of the revenue. So marinas will stay away from it. And I also think that if you can understand the profile of your customers, and again, going back to the data management, if we can turn that data into information and that information into communication and communication into revenue, I think that's where everybody from an industry perspective would benefit. One of the things that we focus on as well as a unique value proposition, whilst we've got the marina management solution for the marina operators, we also provide a brokerage platform, and the brokerage platform can integrate to the marina platform. So you've got seamless integration and integrate to the websites that advertise the boat sales. So we don't just look at a single segment of the industry. We look at the industry as a whole as best we can, because ultimately our responsibility, and then we do take the responsibility serious, is to provide technology to the industry that benefits the whole industry, not just a subset of the industry.
Yeah, so I was in a conversation with somebody, a tech nerd, the other day.
I'd like to class myself as a tech nerd, but I'm not.
Well, I found one. It made for good conversation, and we ended up talking about data and essentially categorizing it in two areas. One is essentially sales intelligence, contact details, stuff like that. And then another section or type of data that's behavioral data, which is a bit more like what you're talking about before, profiling people. What kind of data can something like a marina business have, and how can they use it from your platform? Like, what's something a bit beyond, here's the customer, here's their name, their contact details, this is how much they pay. Something a bit further than that. How far can this go?
I mean, it's all dependent. I always work out or come from the standpoint of the art of what is possible. And when you have data, it opens up doors for what is possible. So with a platform that manages multiple revenue streams, you're looking at the customer touch points. At what time are they engaging with the app for looking at their membership? What time are they attending the restaurants? Who are they bringing to the restaurants? How are they profiled? What time are they using the yoga facilities or the gym facilities? And what that allows you to do is specifically target the right message to the right subsector of your members database or your customer database, and the right message with the right time to get the greatest result. And the greatest result falls into a couple of categories. One is the feeling of belonging. So if you believe in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, everybody wants to feel as though they belong to this club, whether that's my Marina or that's my Marina group. Two, it gives them the ability to engage in an offline scenario. So it's not face-to-face, you're engaging with at their pace, the way they want to. So there's a lot of facets that come into what you can do with the data, but ultimately it's targeting and basically making that individual feel unique in the process. And I think that's invaluable.
So that kind of ultra personalization level.
Based on the data. But the data will tell you information. If you can slice and dice your data and put it into graphs and charts, and you don't need to be a data analyst to be able to see what the trend is. If you want to market, I don't know, Michelin star food on a Friday, because that's the majority of the target audience, then you can do that with the data that we provide.
Yeah, it's personalization at scale.
Yes.
Yeah. Magic.
Ultimately, it's all about driving revenue at the bottom line, but it's the steps that you go through. And once you have a customer and you're generating revenue, it's ultimately how much more revenue can you generate?
Yes. There's an obvious opportunity there, but it's also slightly reframed. That can be, how else can we serve our customers?
Yes.
What else do they want to see from our Marina? Well, you might be able to serve them in different ways, but you don't know they want that.
Exactly.
And so these data insights can really present that as a really obvious opportunity.
And whilst we capture the data, we also provide insights. And there is a particularly aggressive buzz, I would say, around AI.
Yeah,
and
it's huge.
Yeah, that's why I use the word aggressive. Respectfully aggressive, I would say. And I think what we provide as an organization is we provide a conduit or a capillary between our chosen subsector and the technological backbone. So with the platforms, it's inherent. It has Microsoft AI in there. So it's Microsoft brand AI as Copilot. So what we can do is that we capture the data from an operational and transactional perspective. We aggregate that data from an insight perspective, and then you can query the insight by using AI to turn it into natural language to understand where your trends are. Should you increase your prices in comparison to the locality? So it's that level of intelligence that you can generate from a data perspective.
Yeah, and then I suppose that last bit's really important as well. The almost a translation from really needing to be a data analyst and have some really good solid knowledge about reading data and what's really insightful into actually, it's probably most of the people in your organization could communicate with this and derive insights that they can say, hey, board of directors, we should be doing this, and here's the evidence for it.
Exactly.
Rather than kind of spending days and days trying to work it out.
Definitely. The data that will be pulled will be nice in graphs and pie charts and bar charts, but to interpret that data into actionable, positive actionable events, that's where the AI, I think, could come into play nicely.
I want to talk about the growth of Elite Dynamics more broadly.
Yes.
So you mentioned it earlier, going from kind of a few people in the team to a team of over 40 now.
Yeah.
What really drove that growth? What made it go from kind of, look, we've got a few nice customers and we're doing well here, into actually a fully built out, serving a lot of customers?
Yeah, I think in the early days, most of the people who worked at Elite was handpicked is from our knowledge of the industry.
Yeah.
But I think we very easily and very early identified that we had something special. There was a sizable gap in the market. I think the holiday industry is probably 5 to 8 years ahead in terms of trend analysis than the marinas. So holidays, a lot of mama and papa originally, and then there's a lot of equity coming in.
Yeah.
And I think when equity-backed organizations come in there, they want systems, they want automation, they want
let's
data.
implement this digital infrastructure. It's going to increase efficiency. It's going to give them data insights and know exactly what direction the company's doing.
And that's where we fit. And and that, like I mentioned before, that the platform or the IP that we build and develop is built on top of a Microsoft tech stack.
Yeah.
And it gives a lot of comfort to investors.
Because people recognize Microsoft to go, well, that's reputable, it's really good. Yeah, it's really strong.
So I think, we were probably a couple of years too soon, I think, with what we developed. And we've noticed over the last years that the velocity and speed of customer attraction and prospect attraction is increasing, whether that's brand awareness or whether that's the readiness. I think COVID helped, which is a bit of an adverse situation, but it did help because people got used to working remotely and got used to technology. I think the natural progression of primary owners to second generation and third generation who were brought up with tech, that kind of helped as well. But we developed something very special. We invest in the industry, so it's not as if we sit in an ivory tower, develop some software and chuck it out and say, right guys, this is for you. We constantly speaking to people who are working in the industry from a supply chain perspective, from a consumer perspective, and the membership organisations as well.
Everybody mentioned British Marine.
Because they're the ones who understand the pains and the challenges. And we just bring that back into the development team, we fold it in, and we do use cases and we get our customers to test it for us as well. So we have a early adoption program for some of our customers who really want to help, and we drive that through. And
so you're now entering the marine industry. So how's that kind of that experience informed how you're trying to, first of all, penetrate the industry and then inform the kind of growth strategy? What does that look like today?
Yeah, I think we followed the same path. So we're a member of the British Marine, the Taiha. I mentioned before, I was at Fort Lauderdale. I've just come back from the Dubai boat show. We speak to people, we understand the challenges, and then we adapt that into the tech stack. As mentioned before, we have a solution for the marinas. We've already got a couple of marinas on our books in a short period of time. We have a solution for the boat sale brokerage. We have a couple of brokers on our books as well. So I think we will follow the natural progression. We'll follow the path that the holiday parks went in terms of our marketing, in terms of our product development. But I would say we're probably, and the software will never be finished. I think we use a terminology, Disneyland. Walt Disney said Disneyland will never be complete as long as the imagination in the world, and that's the same with our software. So off the shelf, it's functionally rich, covers multiple revenue streams, but we continue to push the boundaries. I've got an AI team internally now is looking at what we can do with AI to make the user experience. So instead of having to type, searching through menus, you can just type, what's my availability next Wednesday? And do it that way. And if we can get that onto the website, so that their customers can say, do you have anything available for a boat of this size? And so on, just natural language. And the benefit is it's Microsoft that create that technology. We just find a way to get it to work with the business processes of a marina.
Yeah, so it's like kind of that last step of customization, which says, well, look, this is going to fit 90% of businesses everywhere. Marine is particularly unique and has some really awkward nuances that can just mean like,
that's the fun.
That's the fun, that's the magic. So rather than forcing marine businesses and marinas in the majority of cases for you guys at the moment, rather than forcing that through, you can actually just customize it a little bit from your broader understanding and context of this is what this industry is gonna need. And that bit of customization makes it kind of perfect for the Dynamics customers.
That's what we're designed to do as an organization. We're designed to take the technology that's out there, customize it, based on feedback and input from people who are going to use it, and deliver it to the masses. We don't have a proposition that is we only go after the large marina operators or we only go after the small marina operators. The solution will scale up and scale down as they require.
I want to look ahead. What does this become? I think the road ahead is always exciting to talk about for a software company.
Certainly is.
Scalability is lovely. Well, what does it look like in the marine industry?
I think it's very exciting. The opportunity in front of us is extremely exciting. It's incredibly entertaining. We're in the process of opening up an office in North America. I'm going out there in a few months' time. I'll stay out there for a year and open up the offices and see what we can do, if we can repeat what we did in the UK. Today, actually, we signed our first reseller agreement with a Microsoft partner in Singapore. So they've got the license to sell our solutions and then deploy our solutions from the Singapore region and locality. It's all about growth. from a business perspective, both organically or through acquisition, if there's an acquisition that's available.
Yeah.
I do think there will be a consolidation in the supply chain from a Marina software perspective. I really do.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's happening across pretty much every sector of the marine industry and marinas themselves.
Marinas as well. Well,
yeah.
It was some communities have just offloaded. Should say exited. It's just exited Safe Harbour. To Blackstone, which is interesting because Blackstone also invested in holiday parks before they invested in marinas.
Right,
so you can see the
complementary assets. You
exactly.
can see
Of course.
see that. Yeah,
of course. So yeah, I think there's going to be consolidation from a marina perspective, but also consolidation from a software vendor perspective, and we're positioning ourselves to be the solution of choice across the multiple subsectors of the marina industry. So very exciting.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're very welcome. Everybody, if you enjoy content like this and find it insightful, there are plenty more podcasts for you to watch. Go and look out for them and enjoy those. All being well, we'll see you again very, very soon. Bye for now. Ciao.